This is Don't Panic, episode number 320, recorded September 13th, 2021. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on gadgets, the internet, and you. I'm Sean Jennings, joined tonight by our number one matchup, Colby versus Dan, kicking off our season. Who do we give the line to? I'm going to take Colby by 3.5.
I don't know what those words mean.
Yeah, that one was beyond me. Are these sports ball references?
Well, sports gambling it's legal now, so sports gambling is huge.
Wait, what?
So the super high level on it is the Supreme Court basically said no, sports gambling's legal, but it's only legal when states make it legal. So only certain states have passed the laws to put the rules around it. But there's technically nothing to stopping you from loading up FanDuel or one of these apps and placing bets.
Wait, what? Under what sort? You said. So are other forms of gambling illegal too?
It's not legal versus illegal. It's regulation. So the idea is that because before it was literally illegal, and the Supreme Court says you can't make it illegal. It's your choice whether you legalize it, if that makes sense.
It doesn't.
Okay.
So it went from a not allowed by default thing to allowed by default. No, it went. Yeah, I don't get it. You
can't say no, but you don't have to say yes.
What do you do if you don't say yes?
Yeah.
Then it's a gray area, and what happens is Dan can go through a sports book in Pennsylvania where it is legal and place his bets there.
I see. So you can be if it was illegal or if it was not explicitly legal in Massachusetts, you, Sean, could not be a bookie.
Think of it this way. Why is it when I go near any drive by any marijuana shop near the border, is the parking lot filled with New York license plates?
I don't know.
Because you can't buy it in New York, but people will come to Massachusetts to do it. It's the same with sports gambling.
No, I didn't know. I was playing dumb for the show, for the sake of the show.
Dumb. They know we're dumb.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I get it now.
But DraftKings has been around for a while.
Yes, the big difference is what they were doing before wasn't, or at least they would say, not gambling, because what you were doing is it was more of you would make your own roster of players, so you had control over it. You weren't straight up betting on games. It was more like fantasy football, where the outcome was dependent on your actions, not the actions of the game itself. Now you could just say
I see.
Lines tonight is, I'm making this up, Ravens by 5 or whatever. Now you can actually just put money down on the Ravens.
Wow.
So
here's what I don't understand. Can't you go to Las Vegas and bet on anything?
Nevada was one of those weird states where it was always legal. And somehow they got away with it in a way I don't.
But I guess the thing I don't understand is what aspect of the law made it such that it was by default illegal previously?
That was a per state thing. So a number of states had made it illegal. Nevada was not one of them. There was no federal law that made it illegal. They basically took the state laws to task and said, are they allowed to do that? And the Supreme Court said, no.
They're not allowed to make it illegal.
Yes.
Now,
gotcha.
This might be getting too deep, but why can't the states do that?
I don't know the answer. My intelligent speculation is that it has to do with gambling is regulated at a federal level.
So you don't.
So if Congress passed a law saying it was illegal, they can do that. But states don't have the right to do that. I don't know if that's true. I just made that up, but it sounds right.
It seems pretty plausible, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know about national gambling laws. But I guess I knew that gambling is more restricted in the U.S. than most places, or at least was.
Absolutely. Yep, and that's why people would go to Nevada, right? One of the states with the laxest gambling laws in general. It's only in the last couple decades that casinos appeared in most states as the laws have been relaxed around gambling in general.
Hmm. Well, thanks for the
So there
fun
you go.
fact.
Put your money down, people.
Isn't the law crazy?
Can't wait.
It is wild. I did win my family's. I'm in a mini pool with my family, which I won this week.
Like a kiddie pool?
Sort of, in gambling terms, yes. But it's a create a roster each week and gain points, and I won week 1, so off to a good start.
Nice.
So it sounds like football's back. Is that what I'm reading between the lines
Dan,
here?
the last 5 minutes, if it has been any indication, football is back. That's where you
Are you ready for
dun, dun,
some
dun,
football?
Dun 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 dun.
Like those robot guys who are like tossing the ball around.
I think you're
Are they still there? Are the robot guys still there?
the Cletus, the robot football mascot. Yes, he is still there.
That's his
wow.
name.
Cletus.
Wow.
Cletus?
Yes.
Cletus.
Yeah, the Fox Sports robot.
Crazy. Yeah, football totally snuck up on me. I had no idea.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good season. We'll all year long, folks, we're going to be talking about football right here. We've got fantasy experts, Dan Miller, Colby Rabideau. When I say fantasy, I mean high fantasy. We've got elves. We've got magic. We've got all your
There we
fantasy
go.
picks right here.
What was the...
Now, here you go. What would be your fantasy team?
I
That's-
pray we're
Picking
not
up what I'm putting
the first
down?
to ever think of that.
I don't know. I like it. What do you think the game is? Is the game like how well the fantasy teams do?
Yeah, what would be the game?
Football.
Maybe it could be like the movie draft, but for books. You'd have to play it over a really long time period, though, like over a 10-year span.
Right. I like it.
And then maybe like take the books, count up how many pages the character that you chose appears on, and then divvy up the amount of money that book made per page, and then multiply by the number of pages that your character's in.
You know how you guys were like glazed over during the gambling conversation as I was I getting that feeling now.
We were asking very intelligent questions, Sean, if I do say so
I have nothing
myself.
intelligent to add to this. That sounds great, Dan. I love it. We need a replacement for the movie league, so why not the fantasy
Right.
league?
That's true. That was such a big part of our lives for so long.
It was.
Now it's gone.
It was.
We'll never see those strangers who kept winning again. Who were they? What were they?
I think I owe one or two of them a trophy. So, it will come back. Eventually, movies will come back, and the league will come back someday.
Well, this is this is a little bit of a transition. Was it Disney who announced that they're not going to do online releases anymore? Someone. I was bummed. Just as there were about to be movies that were going to come out that I would have paid $20 to watch at home, now there won't be any. And I won't watch them at home, and I'll wait until they're on streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It makes sense after the big Black Widow lawsuit with Scarlett Johansson and others, where they kind of bungled the financial. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but
wasn't that a contract thing though, that it had to be released in theaters?
it's not necessarily, as far as I understand, it's not that it had to be released in theaters. It's just the way actors get paid these days, different from decades ago, was that, Dan, the movie could pay you $20 million to star in it. Or they give you $5 million, but you get 2 points on the gross, which means you get a percentage of every ticket sold, theoretically worth a lot more. The problem is, if you don't have it in theaters, or you split it with streaming, you don't sell as many tickets, so the money that you were expecting to get, you don't get anymore. And so that's what the lawsuit is about, is no, Scarlett Johansson's like, I want a percentage of all those Disney purchases, which weren't in the original contract. And so it just has sort of screwed up the model. The other thing is the residuals, which is in Hollywood, if you star in a movie, part of it is when the movie is sold 20 years from now, you get a small check in the mail every month in residuals. Stuff that goes to streaming like that doesn't have the same residual structure. So people thought their movies were going into theaters, aren't getting the residuals they thought they were. It's very complex.
Oh, that's interesting. Why don't they get the residuals? Because doesn't Netflix pay per view, basically, or do they not?
Netflix is different, right? Because that stuff made for Netflix was intended for Netflix. It's built into the pay structure.
Sure, but when Netflix like buys the rights to, I don't know, some 80s Christmas movie, people who had residuals on that Christmas movie don't see any of that money?
They do, but they see just like a flat check.
Oh, okay.
Versus every time a TV episode is aired or something like that, they may get a small check every time. It's all different structures. But the issue is, if the project is meant for streaming, then they build that into the price where it's like, you're not going to get $1 every time someone streams it. You'll just get a flat fee. The problem is, if it was built for theaters and then went to streaming, contracts aren't really made for that. So it's annoyingly complex. But yeah, I think that's why, because HBO got in trouble for HBO Max got in trouble for pushing a bunch of their releases straight to. They had to renegotiate with Patty Jenkins over Wonder Woman 1984 and a few of the other folks. So it makes sense to me that it's less of a headache for them to just put it in theaters and put it on streaming later.
I would take a month. If it was a month later, I'd still do it.
Well, that's the thing.
I wonder if it...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I guess I didn't think about that. Are they just not going to do it at all, or will it just be theaters first? I didn't look.
It'll be theaters first, theaters exclusive, and then there'll be a window, 30 days, 60 days, and then it will show up on streaming. So it's,
Will it still be like the Disney Plus premium ticket, $20 per show for movie thing?
Yeah, specifically with Disney, like Warner Brothers is doing a thing with HBO Max in terms of the windows, and same with Universal Studios and Peacock, but at some point they all end up free on those services. It's just a matter of over what period of time, and is there that pay for in the middle.
Right. Huh. Okay, well maybe not all hope is not lost then.
No, it's going to be like it was pre-pandemic. I mean, eventually a lot of these movies showed up on some platform somewhere for free.
Not 60 days later,
No,
though.
they definitely have said they're shortening the window, for sure. And they know that.
Okay, that's good. All right. I'm not as upset anymore.
It's going to be okay, Dan. You'll get your... Is there some big movie you're excited to see?
There was. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Venom? Venom
what are
2?
the big movies coming out?
Venom 2?
There was a Venom 1?
Tom Hardy's Venom. And now Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage.
Weird.
Or are you thinking of Jared Leto's Morbius?
Morbius.
No.
I was looking forward to Dune.
I think that's on HBO Max
Dune
right
could
now.
be good.
It says its release date is October 22nd.
Then that's when it will be on
2021.
HBO. All right, there you go.
But will that one still be on HBO? We're not talking about HBO. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that one I plan to watch. I've been waiting all year for a movie to be on HBO that I actually sort of cared about.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing...
Oh, it was Shang-Chi. I wanted to watch Shang-Chi, and it's just not on Disney Plus at all. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, they made so much money on that in theaters that's partly why they're like, you know what, we're just going to stick with theaters for now.
Damn.
Expected to land on the platform in mid-October.
I guess there's your month or so. Not terrible.
I had a bad streak with the direct-to-HBO Max movies this year because Space Jam 2 was not good. And The Suicide Squad, I actually didn't really... It wasn't for me. I did not like it. And what else came out on there this year?
Well, it wasn't the Wonder Woman?
Yeah, that wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe movies just aren't good.
It's possible.
Is that why they keep remaking the old ones?
Yeah, what was the last good movie? Knives Out?
That was pretty good.
That was a good movie. Speaking of good movies, did you know that at least last time I checked last week, you can bid for starting at like $1 for all, not all, but each of the cars from the Mad Max movie, but you have to pick them up in Australia. You can get the car that had the guitar guy hanging off the front of it.
I assume they're not road
You could-
legal.
I assume
Maybe
not.
in Australia,
It might be a
different
bit of a
rules.
stretch to get those to pass inspection. Australia, was a former prison colony, so
Yeah.
who knows?
Now, does it come with the guitar that shoots flames?
Parts sold separately.
Deal breaker. Funny.
Now, guys, I did want to briefly talk about my car situation.
Yeah, speaking of road legal cars,
Bad news. We haven't had a show since. My car got totaled. And it is, in fact, totaled. It's headed to the junkyard as we speak. It broke. I guess I don't know how cars work. They're bolts that hold your engine into your car. And I guess half of them were sheared off clean. It was hit so hard. Pushed the engine 4 inches back into the passenger compartment of my vehicle. Unfixable. Totaled. So...
and maybe for the viewers at home, you should specify this was not some like crazy I-95 drunk driving incident.
No, it turns out it is possible to hit a parked car so hard that you total it. A car going 0 miles per hour.
Right. You are not the car hitting a parked car.
Thank God, no. I'm a bad driver. I'm not that bad of a driver. No, it was parked. My car was parked in front of my house. A maniac came around the corner going too fast, probably on her cell phone, and ricocheted off the curb and went head-on into my car. So head-on, the 2 headlights were perfectly fine. That's how middle, right between them, she got it.
Wow.
Damn impressive.
It's kind of impressive, yeah.
Honestly, and what pisses me off more than anything else is that all my security cameras, I normally have the street blanketed with cameras, they're all down where they're putting the new siding up on my house. I didn't have any footage of it. It would have been awesome.
It would have been a nice consolation
Honest,
prize.
I could have submitted it to one of those like clip shows on MTV or something and gotten like $100.
Right.
Right.
Oh, a good subreddit is r/idiots in cars.
I love those videos. That's what believe it or not, I watch a lot of those before we do the show to get psyched up. Because I'm like, ooh.
Just to get really angry.
Ooh. Although I do think they've made me a better driver. You laugh. But now, after watching a bunch of those, I'm like, know where to look for idiots coming out of places.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, oh, wow, maybe these are actually really helpful. That's how I justify it to myself. But anyway, so my car was totaled, which means I need a new car. Very important. And so I learned a couple of valuable lessons. One, there are no cars. There are just no cars.
Yep.
I went to a bunch of dealerships over the weekend. The salespeople were sitting around, twiddling their thumbs, feet up on the desk. Hey, do you guys have any cars? No, we don't have any cars. So I just left. There are literally no cars. And these dealerships do not update their websites. So their website says they have cars.
Oh, no.
They don't have cars. So I did something shocking. I bought a car online that I've never seen before.
Shocking.
Which one did you use?
Did you get it from the Carvana car vending machine?
I did get it from the Carvana people. Now, there isn't a vending machine near me, so they are going to drive it to my house. But yes, in the span, it took me like an hour online to buy a car.
Wow. And
Yeah, everyone's doing it.
It was very wild. I didn't want to, but they have cars. And so you look at the picture online, you click I want to buy it, you do some paperwork, and it'll be here next week.
wow. And did they, like, while you're waiting for, like, the website to load, does it say, like, oh, well, I have to go check with my manager about that? And
No, it was so funny. The first dealership we went into this weekend, I went with my brother, and the guy was, like, super rude, and I'm like, this is why I hate buying cars. So it was kind of neat where I could, like, oh, it just says the price, and that's the price, and you buy it for the price. And it's like, oh, that's real. I didn't negotiate a single goddamn thing.
nice.
Yeah.
It really does live up to the, they're going to bring it for free to my house. I got 7 days to try it. If I don't like it, I can return it.
There you go. Is there a fee? Do you have to pay for the return shipping?
Nope, because I guess I live close enough to, I'm within that radius or whatever, so they don't charge me. And yeah,
So
do it right to my door.
What car did you get?
What kind of car do you think I got?
A Lamborghini.
2015 Honda Accord.
Definite ends of the spectrum there, guys. Definite, like, you guys really went total opposites.
Wait, you were looking at Turo and you were looking at some crazy ass car. So maybe Colby's closer to the truth here.
I would have loved to have gotten a zany car, but I don't have a zany car budget or a zany car personality.
It's probably easier to get a zany car at this point though than a
There
Honda
are
Accord.
a lot of, all those cars you see where it's like the manufacturer puts them out like that weird lime green or bright orange color. There are a lot of those used that nobody wants.
I've been seeing it more and more. Is it literally called like the Nissan Box or something like that?
Cube?
The car that's just the
Cube.
Cube, yes. I've been seeing a lot of those around. Maybe that's
Another
why.
great used car.
You can get them.
Those and like PT Cruisers. Great used cars. Actually, I should have got a PT Cruiser convertible. That would have been so
With the
fun.
wood panels?
Yes!
That would have been dope.
Oh my god, that would have been great. No, those are collector's items. Very expensive. No, I went with the 2020 Hyundai Kona. Are you familiar with the Kona?
No.
Yes. They make an electric car version of
They
that,
do.
right?
It's called a subcompact SUV, which is basically like one step up from a car, but it's not really an SUV. It's in the middle, so it's like a beefy car. And that's what I've been driving. That's what my rental is, and I like driving it a lot, so I bought one.
Oh,
Cool.
is this your first ever bigger than a car
Yes.
car?
But I will tell you, it's barely bigger than a car.
Yeah, I found from all the renting I did last year that the difference is not really the size; it's like the form factor. It's like the fact that the seats. I imagine this one, the seats fold down and the trunk like opens all the way,
Well,
like hatchback.
My
Is that what
last
they
car
call
was
it?
a hatchback, but it was a car hatchback, and I loved having the hatch. The problem is they don't make those anymore. They don't. If you want a hatchback style car, you basically have to go to a small SUV. Otherwise, you just get a regular sedan. So, but what I like is it's got it's a little higher wheelbase, but not all the way. I test drove some SUVs, and I don't like driving big cars. I just don't. And so this drives more like a car, but it's a little bit raised and a little bit bigger. So,
What color?
gray. That's the other thing you learn about used cars. They are black or white. And if you get another color, congratulations, you're a lucky man.
Wow.
So I assume those must be the most popular colors
Yes. And new cars, too. New cars, it's, obviously there aren't many, but they're all black and white. And a lot of white. And I'm like, I do not care for white cars.
then? I don't get it either.
And that's an extra
I
cost.
see so many white cars. They all look terrible. They look like something a cat would throw up. And it's like, why?
I agree. And my first car was black, and it was a pain to keep clean. And it was okay, but I loved my last car is actually going to be the same gray as my new one, which I loved a lot. It was kind of a good middle ground. So,
Wow. Have you named it yet, or is that the kind of thing you don't do till you've met
gotta
it?
feel it. Gotta feel it in.
That makes sense.
It's a 2020. There's no crazy new technology on it. I did look into getting a new car, and there just weren't any. But so I can't do any crazy like open the car with your phone bullshit. But
I mean, 2020 just happened.
believe it or not,
It's a pretty new car.
you would be shocked at how fast the tech moves model year to model year in these cars. Like the 22s, you can already have the digital key with your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is they're doing
But does it have the CarPlays?
Mine does have the CarPlay, not wireless. The new ones have the wireless. And the other thing they're doing now in the cars is, like the instrument dash behind your wheel with like the speedometer and stuff? It's one big digital screen. It looks so cool.
Fancy.
Costs a fortune.
So fancy.
So anyway, if anyone's looking for car buying advice, the delivery is not this Friday, but next Friday, so I'll let you guys know how it goes.
good.
I mean, someone else could total this car 2 years from now, and you'll have a edge-to-edge display behind your wheel.
They can't. No, if that happens, I'm just never leaving my house. This is not.
Well, more importantly, your car can't leave your house.
Well, I will say, as far as having your car totaled and have to get another one quickly goes, mine has been pretty seamless. I do not want to do this again. That's the point of buying a car, so you don't have to do it again for a while.
Right.
Miserable.
Yeah. Woof.
And I won't even tell you guys about how the city of Springfield came by today and put a stop work order on the construction of my house because there was no filed permit. But that's a whole nother story for another day. So
Nice.
Oh, wait, here's a question. Is this when you file a car insurance claim? Do they take into account the value of the car at the time that the claim is filed? I imagine.
yeah, what they do is they have their own custom way of doing it. But basically, they just go online and be like, if I wanted to buy this exact car, like it was the day before the accident, what is it selling for?
Well, I'm just saying, if you were going to get your car totaled, this was the year to do it.
I'm literally not kidding with you. They are paying me what I paid for it 2 years ago. So I actually did
it's crazy.
exceptionally well in that respect. But like I said, what you gain in the selling of the car, you lose in the buying of the new one. So I'm not, so my car, if I bought it new today in today's market, it would be $5,000 more. So
right.
It again, could have been a lot. I was worried, like I'd had to negotiate with them and really be tough about it. And then they gave me the number and I was like, yeah, great. That's more than I thought you were going to high five, It was good. Now I just have to get and actually pay. So,
Baby. What an adventure, Sean.
Yeah.
You're really experiencing all of the things.
That's why I'm having a heart attack.
This is adult life.
Guys.
Painting your deck.
That's
replacing
fair.
your windows.
Oh my God,
car insurance
the siding
claims.
guys are morons. They've been doing a terrible job. Everything's like crooked and wrong. They're just. Thank goodness I have a pretty stress-free and easygoing job I go to every day.
Is that sarcasm?
What do you think?
I don't know.
No, it's great.
I didn't know the roofing business was that crazy.
You have no idea, my man. You have no idea. I had 3 different product launch meetings today for 3 different products that are being launched, which is a lot of work.
Yeah, I believe it.
But if you guys need some cutting-edge screws, you give me a call. We got them.
Maybe.
I will. Yeah, Colby might need those.
They're great. They will. Listen, if you want to attach 2 things together and you want them to stay together, there ain't nothing better than these screws, I'll tell you. Might be overkill.
You should use those in your car.
Honestly, maybe.
Maybe you should pitch that.
Screws for cars?
Yeah, the automotive expansion.
There are bolts in cars. Why can't our screws do it?
Right. OMG Automotive.
Love it. Love
amazing.
Well, that was my old
Sells
plastics
itself.
job. Was we were trying to replace all the parts in cars with plastics to make them lightweight, and nobody ever wanted them.
That's surprising.
It's a regulatory nightmare. Anytime you change anything in a car, it takes so long to get it approved and looked at, and all this kind of you have to have so much testing data, and nobody wanted. They just said, "We'll just keep using metal. We don't care."
Right. I wonder if that would change now with all the electric cars wanting to be as efficient as possible.
Oh yeah, no, and they've made some advances. I mean, if you just looked at the test numbers of like safety and things like that, you probably could build a car out of like 70% plastic these days, and it would definitely hold up to safety standards. But no car manufacturer is going to say, hey, that strong, sturdy metal car we used to sell you? We made it out of plastic. Check it out. It scares the crap out of people.
That's true.
Because that plastic windows was the big one, where glass is one of both heaviest and dangerous things in your automobile.
Sure.
And the problem with plastic windows that no one figured out is they can make them scratch resistant. They can put the heating elements right in there so you can melt snow off of all your windows and all this stuff. It's really cool. what do you do when you need to break a window to get out of your car? They literally had to figure out a way to, like, we need to make an unbreakable piece of glass that you can break, made of plastic. And so that's why they always...
This sounds like a Better Off Ted plot.
It really, honestly, I met the scientists who worked on it, and they were like, this sucks. Like, we can make the most unbreakable piece. And that's why they used to focus on the rear window of the vehicle, because that's when a passenger would never have to brake. So that's why they pitched the plastic window for that. But they were like, we could never do like a windshield or a passenger window because people would literally like suffocate and trap in their cars.
Do people? Do you have to break your front windshield? Because in my mind, that's the biggest one and the hardest to reach.
In the event your car like rolls or is trapped behind something, fire departments, police, you have to be able to escape in and out. So yeah, there are definitely times people are pulled out through the windshield.
Okay.
Like someone else is breaking the windshield.
Yeah, I don't think you, like I said, unless your car was pinned and you couldn't get out through the doors.
Right. That's so funny. I never considered that the glass breaking would be a feature. I guess that's the thing they do, having witnessed a fire in the building next to me. That's what the fire department rolls through and like breaks all the windows and stuff.
And the building wasn't even on fire. They were just doing it for fun.
Right. Just causing chaos. Raucous.
You're just reminding you who's in charge in this neighborhood.
Right.
That's right. Colby didn't pay didn't donate to the fire rescue funds this year.
His fire insurance policy.
Well, it looks like you got some new windows there, buddy. It'd be a shame if something happened to him.
The dream of privatizing government services.
All right.
Wow.
Any other banter, gentlemen?
I'm bantered out. I've bantered.
Well, the good news is we do have some updates and news in the rundown if you guys want to take a look. As usual, not a ton of news. We're very selective, highly selective. You'll only get the cream of the crop here on Don't Panic. And so what would you guys like to talk about this week?
We could wrap up the Epic trial, right?
Yes.
Is that in here? I guess that's
No,
not
it isn't
in
here. It's the third line.
Oh, okay,
Absolutely, we can. U.S. District Court Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers has issued her decision in the Epic v. Apple case. They found in favor of Apple on all counts except for one. Let me break it down with who won what. Both sides came away with really losing in general. The court
Everyone
found Epic
loses.
did, in fact, breach its contract with Apple by implementing its alternative payment system. And they found that Apple did not violate antitrust law based on the marketplace at issue. Now, a big part of this case, what Epic was arguing and Apple was arguing is, what is the marketplace that is supposedly Apple has a monopoly over? Epic would say it's the overall games market. Apple would say it is the App Store market. The judge said, you're both wrong. The actual answer is gaming apps. About 70% of Apple's App Store revenue is generated by gaming apps, and most of the like 98% of those are coming from in-app purchases. She wrote, quote, "The relevant market here is the digital mobile gaming transaction, not gaming generally, and not Apple's own internal operating systems related to the App Store." And she ruled that Apple is not a monopolist in that market. She said, quote, "While the court finds that Apple enjoys considerable market share of over 55% and extraordinarily high profit margins, though these factors alone do not show antitrust conduct, success is not illegal." Frankly, in a world where Android doesn't exist, they certainly would have a monopoly. Right now it's that, was it duopoly with there. But Apple did lose on one count, which is that they violated California's unfair competition law by preventing developers from offering alternative payment options and communicating with their customers. She wrote that Apple argues that its policies protect consumer against fraudulent attacks. That data is far from clear. What is certain is Apple's decision prohibits information from flowing directly to the consumer so that customers can make these choices for themselves. So she issued a permanent injunction saying Apple may not stop developers from, quote, including in their apps and their metadata buttons, external links, or other calls to action that direct customers to purchasing mechanisms, in addition to in-app purchasing and communicating with customers through points of contact obtained voluntarily from customers through account registration within the app. Basically, it means Apple can't kick an app out for linking to alternative ways to make in-app purchases. Now, it doesn't seem to require Apple to let developers offer those methods. They just can't stop them. And the order does not take effect until December, although everybody's appealing, so who knows when that'll actually happen. And it's written in a very vague way where people aren't quite sure exactly what Apple is allowed to do in terms of, could a developer make a button in their app that looks identical to the App Store in-app purchase button in an effort to confuse consumers? Is that something Apple can ban an app for doing, or does that violate the judge's order? Still a lot of gray areas. That's my summary.
That was a pretty good summary.
Yeah, and this is in addition to, I don't think we talked on the show about the South Korea, Japan things.
No, we did not.
Did you hear about those?
I know nothing about them.
Oh, boy.
Sorry.
I don't know where to find it now. It's been a couple weeks. Please hold.
This is the first time we've ever had holding music.
All right, yeah, the Japan thing was that Apple will let developers of reader apps, and reader apps are things that allow you to access content that you bought somewhere else, which is Netflix, Kindle, Spotify, lots of things. Apple will allow developers of reader apps around the world to link to an external website to set up or manage an account beginning early next year. And in Korea, a court or a legislative body, I'm not sure, somebody decided that Apple and Google must allow developers to use other payment systems in Korea. And Apple came out and said that they were just going to obey the Japan law everywhere. But they did not say that about the Korea law, which is other payment systems. So it sounds like, though, the Korean law, perhaps in conjunction with this ruling, would say that Apple will allow developers anywhere to use other payment systems.
Yes.
And the thing, I think I was reading something about this at some point, but the thing I never really thought about is, if I were Apple, and so especially in the mobile gaming markets, the big danger and the big thing that Apple points to is, hey, we don't want to exploit, kids with these mobile casinos and take a bunch of their money, even though that's already happening. But certainly one could argue it would be happening more if there weren't parental controls that can be enforced through the App Store and stuff. And Apple has Apple Pay, which you can do online. Apple doesn't make any money when you use Apple Pay to buy a shoe from Zappos, right? It's just a technology that they offer. And so, but why couldn't Apple have Apple Pay have an Apple Pay API that is, you can, and Apple Pay is great, very convenient. People like to use Apple Pay. Why can't they just have an API there that respects the parental controls and stuff? And because if you're a video game developer, you want kids to be able to buy stuff in your app, but kids don't have credit cards. So you can't just point them at a Stripe page and be like, all right, have fun, kids, because they won't be able to use it. You need a third party, actually. So anyways, those are just two news stories, and I don't understand why Apple's so opposed to this. If I were them, I would have taken it as an opportunity to make Apple Pay an even more compelling thing. Oh yeah, we recognize this is a problem. That's why we're letting kids get Apple Pay allowances that they can use on any site, but it respects the parental controls. Boom, more Apple Pay users, and they come out looking like the good guys. Which maybe, yeah.
But I think they can do.
Maybe Apple's not so good at these days.
I think they can do that regardless of this lawsuit, though. I mean, there's already parental controls, and with things like Apple Cash, which parents could theoretically load up with balances that could be used towards purchases, and I think that's a good idea, certainly. But what this lawsuit has really, I've taken away from it is that Apple only makes money on mobile gaming apps through in-app purchases. Like that's their business model. Like they don't give a shit about your calculator app or your to-do list app, or that's nothing for them. And as a
or even Netflix and Spotify.
No, it's wild. It's something. Yeah, you saw the numbers. I mean, it's the vast, vast, vast majority. It's all through in-app purchases, not even the upfront purchases. We remember Super Monkey Ball and very first in the App Store, a $30 game, and it was like, wow, that was wild stuff when you look back at it, because nobody buys apps up front. It's all in-app purchases. So if you're Apple, a publicly traded company with stockholders you have to report to, you can't do anything to damage a cash cow. I mean, that's where their money's coming in. A regular recurring source of income. So I get why they want to fight tooth and nail for this, because even if they lose a small percentage of it, it's a lot of money for them to lose, and it's going to be hard for them to make it up elsewhere. I think Apple won this more than Epic did, because Apple still is in the driver's seat, because even if they have to allow other folks to offer alternative payments, they can still set the rules, right? They can determine how it shows up in an app. They can determine the rules around whether you have to force them to an external website or you can do it within the app. There's a lot of ways Apple can make it difficult to collect on those third-party payments. And Epic, for their money, great. They might get 30 cents back on every dollar's worth of transactions for a few bucks, but at the end of the day, they don't have any more control than they did before the lawsuit.
Right. And then I feel like that's interesting, because I know the thing they did, right, like, was that they, like, when all this started, they would offer you, it was like you could buy this through the in-app purchase and it costs this much, or you can buy it through the website and it costs this much. Mm-hmm. It costs like some amount less, right? I guess you could, if it was 15% less, they do make a little bit more money times like 1 trillion in-app purchases, and it's like
a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. I talked myself out of what I was going to say.
Well, also, I mean, again, and I haven't seen the research, what percentage of customers will say, I'm just used to in-app purchases and it's easier, and they get taken to some third-party looking website, they got to put in their PayPal information or whatever. Do I think 100% of people will convert over to save the money? No. And so for Epic, it's like, yeah, you're going to make some money back. I think that's great, but you're still beholden to Apple. You didn't get that monopoly win where you were going to get control of your own app store, right? That was part of it too. Because a lot of these companies eventually wanted their own app stores within the App Store. And the judge said, they're not a monopoly. You're never going to get that. I'm going to give you this bone because you're right. It is anti-competitive on this small piece, but it gave no indication we're heading in that direction.
Yeah, that's what I never understood, was why, like, Apple could offer APIs that allow people to use alternate payment methods in their apps and get all the benefits of it being an Apple API with respecting parental controls and everything else. And maybe they could even take a chunk of that. Like, oh yeah, sure, but I don't know, maybe that doesn't make sense. But that kind of defeats the consumer protection argument that Apple is making. I agree. Like, I would never, and maybe this is the other way of looking at it. Would I trust Epic with my credit card info? Probably. If I wanted to spend money and it saved me 15%, yeah, I would use Epic. But if I bought some random app store game that someone recommended and it's like, oh, why don't you go to our website and give us your credit card info? No, I would choose in-app purchase until I trusted them.
Yeah.
If I ever did.
Well, one of the other things we learned in the lawsuit too is that Apple essentially cut sweetheart deals with large companies, Netflix among some of the other ones, and Epic just said no. And I just wonder if Apple will be more aggressive to take their top 10, top 20, top 50 revenue drivers like Epic and say, look, guys, we'll cut it to 15%. That's a win-win for both of us. You just got 15% back. We still make 15% instead of 0 when you go to somebody else. and it's easier for your customers.
Well, yeah, it explains why they offered the subscription thing, right? Wasn't it subscriptions that now for everyone after some amount of time or some number of users, it dips down to 15% because they don't make any money off of subscriptions.
Right. Wild. So complicated.
Yeah, this will continue in the courts for quite a while. It's far from over, but at least for the moment we have a little bit more clarity. Your big takeaway here, just Apple is, by the court's definitions, not a monopoly. At least not in the mobile gaming space. All right. Would you guys like to do another story, preview tomorrow's Apple event? We can talk about the Facebook sunglasses.
Colby?
I'm down to talk about the Apple event. I haven't looked at any of the pre-event stuff this time.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Apple really boned us once again, booking a Tuesday event for tomorrow, which means we'll be a day late and a week short. But we're going to have some new stuff, starting with iPhones, unsurprisingly. iPhone 13. I should mention these are all rumors, but I'm going to read them like they're true. We're not expected to see a big design upgrade. This will be a little bit more of that S kind of upgrade, that they just don't call it that anymore. Maybe a smaller notch, higher refresh rate displays, a new updated MagSafe that could work better and faster with some stronger magnets and a larger charging coil. New colors, new storage options. We could see the first 1 terabyte iPhone, which is, I guess, cool. As well as some camera updates. That's basically it. A pretty straightforward iPhone upgrade as far as these things go.
Cool.
I like I like better MagSafe. I'm not excited about the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, for a in-between update, it seems solid. I am curious about some of this refresh rate technology that is on the Apple Watch now that they could bring to the phone. And, of course, I always love new colors. Including pink, potentially. So,
oh, yeah. I was going to say, I wonder what crazy new color we're going to get this year.
Yeah, the rumor's that we may see a pink, and the Pro may get a black and bronze color options.
Bronze?
Yeah.
Interesting.
A bigger design update will be on the Apple Watch Series 7, a bigger screen with flatter displays and edges, looking a lot more like the iPhone 12/13. We'll also get, obviously, a faster processor, a little bit bigger display thanks to the redesign. But that's pretty much it. Not expected to see any new health updates, probably for a new version next year. But they're not expected to see anything this year, which I think is good, because I think the Apple Watch design needs a bit of an overhaul. It's been a while where it's been pretty consistent. And
it's pretty much never changed.
Other than getting a little, where they took the screen and kind of made it more full screen.
Right.
But I am very curious to see what this is going to look like.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I'm a couple watches behind, so I could be in the market for a watch.
I'm many watch. I have a Series 3, I
Oof.
think.
Oof.
So many watches ago.
Isn't that the rule when if you can't go more than double? Like, you should have gone from the 3 to the 6, and now that you're at the 7, you're way
Probably.
behind.
I was just not excited about the 7 at all. I mean, the 6. Whatever the last one was.
Yeah, it was iterative.
You didn't want the appropriately timed blood oxygen detection feature?
It didn't seem like it was going to be that big a deal, but maybe. I don't know.
Well, you may have to wait, though, because there are rumors that the Watch 7 could arrive late or in smaller quantities due to production delays. So, maybe hard to get one. We'll see. We're also looking at some AirPods updates. Finally, AirPod Regular may get a big makeover, looking more like the AirPods Pro, where it's not the long stock, it's the short stock. The only thing it wouldn't have is the rubber tips, and a potentially a 20% larger battery in the carrying case as well.
Nice.
I bought... Actually, they're right here. I bought some old AirPods just in case these get discontinued.
Whoa!
Wow.
Because I like these so much, and I'm nervous about how they're going to change them. So they were on sale on Amazon last week.
Nice.
$50 off or
Clearing
something
that
like
inventory.
I
Yeah.
lost my AirPods some months ago. So
That was another reason. I lost my old regular AirPods. I have the AirPods Pro, but I lost my old regular AirPods in the move somehow. What's suspicious is that Lena and I both lost our old regular AirPods, so they must be in the same place. But it's been months we haven't found them.
Maybe they thought they were eggs that had gone bad and tossed them out.
they're deformed.
Obviously, software updates. So we saw WWDC. We saw a bunch of iOS, iPadOS, macOS, etc., etc. They're actually going to come out, which is good. They might add one or two new features. I'm not sure of what they might. There are rumors that Universal Control, which is that cool thing where you could just drag something from your iPad and it'd show up on your Mac, might not be there at launch. They've also already announced delays for SharePlay, which will not be available tomorrow at launch as well.
Bummer. Those were the two software features I think I was most excited for.
Yep. And apparently quite complex. They're running a little bit late. And that's pretty much it. Definitely some rumors that we could see an October event with some potential new iPad minis, which hasn't been updated like ever. And we're also rumored in the next version of the M series chips as well, and some new MacBook Pros or MacBook Airs.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited for.
Yep. So curious if that'll happen this year or next year. We will see. So there you go. We'll have full coverage next time on everything they announce. And guys, are you excited for next week's show?
Yeah.
Yes, it's VR week.
It is. We're going to virtual reality. That's when, Colby, have you busted out your headset yet?
Of course I have.
And how's it been for you?
Well, I feel like we should save it for the show.
All right. How about in one word or two words? How's it been?
Well, I mean, better than I expected.
Okay.
That's too many words.
I'll take it.
But like the last
and my question is, how many times have you used it?
a few. There was like a day I set it up, and then the first time it really made me feel bad, physically bad, and then I did it again the next day, and it felt less bad, and then I did it again to try out like the workrooms thing. But that was yeah. So yeah, like 3 times or 4 times maybe. Like a few times. It's interesting. I haven't paid for anything yet. So, for better or worse.
Very cool.
All the software is like $30.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's a Super Monkey Ball level.
Right.
I was going to say better than an in-app purchase. Oh, it's 99 cents for another minute of VR. Yeah, it'll be exciting, folks. Next week, I will just say go straight to the video version because we're going to be recording it and uploading our VR session, which will be a lot of fun. My headset gets here tomorrow, so I'm going to bust that bad boy open this weekend and have some fun. I think it'll be a good time.
Get ready.
About time, guys. About time we went to virtual reality. That's great. Well, let's wrap up here with picks. I'm the only one who has a pick in there. So do you guys want to skip picks, or do you have picks and you just didn't put them in there?
Skip X.
I don't have a pick.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I don't either.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's great. Do you want me to talk about my pick?
failed.
Sorry, everybody. Next week.
I'm going to do my pick anyway, if that's okay.
That's
Do it.
fine.
Because I want you guys to get excited for this. You guys like Star Trek?
Kind of.
Sure.
I've never seen it.
I've watched a Star Trek.
I've never seen it. So, but there is a new animated Star Trek show, Star Trek Lower Decks, on Paramount Plus. It is sort of a comedy based in the world of Star Trek, fully animated. There is 1.5 seasons up right now on Paramount Plus, and it is absolutely fantastic. I know nothing about Star Trek, and I enjoy it. It's very funny. It's very entertaining, and it's been great.
Hang on, wasn't there a non-official Star Trek parody animated show?
Are you thinking of Final Space?
Maybe. Was the Family Guy
that
guy
was live
involved in it
action.
in some way?
The Orville.
That was oh, what was it
the
called?
Orville.
Yes.
Yes, which actually is still, I believe, another season is coming to Hulu later this year. It is still around, but this is like comedy first. It's a little more comedic because it follows like the Lower Decks employees of of the ship. But the voice talent is incredible, and it's really strong writing. So if fire up your Paramount Plus subscription and check out Star Trek Lower Decks.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Sweet. All right, shortest pick segment in history. All right, guys. Hey,
Oh, hang on. I was thinking of Red Shirts.
what is Red Shirts?
Red Shirts is a sci-fi web series about the red shirt people in Star Trek who always die because they're never named characters.
I vaguely remember that. Also, don't Google Red Shirts.
Okay.
Red Shirts, first result in many results, Red Shirts of the southern United States were a white supremacist paramilitary terrorist group that were active in the late 19th century. They're apparently having a comeback.
That's beneath a bunch of shopping results for Red Shirts, though.
Yeah, but one of them...
That's very American.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funky. Okay. Guys, anything else you'd like to say or do or plug or talk about or think about or generally share with the world?
No. I'm excited for next week.
Yeah.
Next week is going to be a blast. You guys are not going to want to miss it. I will quickly tease, as always, up for debate. Our Fast and Furious series has been on a mini hiatus because Matt decided to take on 2 AP courses this year as a teacher, which apparently take a lot of work. So he's been very busy. But it's not dead. It's not over. We are going to finish it. As much as I'm totally over these movies and don't need to see anymore, we will finish it. I promise you.
Nice.
So you're not going to want to miss that over at updebate.tv. But like we said, come back next week. Don'tPanic.io is the website. The pics are there, the audio, the video. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts. And definitely subscribe on YouTube because the video episode next week is going to be the one to watch because we're going to be recording the VR feeds and we're going to put them up on the YouTube channel. So you'll get to see our virtual... I have to make an avatar. How exciting. Maybe I'll make it better looking than me. We'll see. It's going to be great. And, of course, you can email us, don'tpanicShow@gmail.com, or tweet at us at Don't Panic Show. We're going to end it here. We're going to go pack our bags before we fly off to virtual land. But until then, they're Dan and Colby. I'm Sean. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time for another great episode of Don't Panic.
Bye.